Hey everyone, welcome back to Max Programming, and today let's start our program that we're going to make. So let's get started. So first of all, let's take a look at how our program is going to look like. It's going to ask first of all that uh, we have to enter the number of books available to sell. So it's just a book selling program. So let's enter 14. So you're telling the program that 14 books are available to sell. And when you press enter, it's going to tell you that 14 books are left. Okay, number of available books. Yeah, it's going to sell each book. Then it's going to say when 10 books will be left, it's going to say 10 books. It's going to sell, then 5 books. Then it's going to sell, and then 0 books are left when no books are left and 14 were sold. Similarly, if we do something like this, we run the program again, and if I just say 112, so it's going to be a very long program. Okay, it's going to have very long output. So book number 120 112 is sold, 111 110 left, and then you can see we have these kind of, and every 5 numbers is going to warn us that hey, these books are left. Actually tell us, not warn us. And then at last it's going to say 0 books are left, 112 were sold. So that's what we are going to create in this video. This is the first part, so we're just going to create the basic things. Okay, so let's get started. So right now we were just doing all of the stuff in a scratch file. Now we are not going to do that. So just click on this project and we're going to create a new Python file. So let's right click, new Python file, and you can name it anything. So I'm going to name it book underscore seller and press enter, and it's going to create a new Python file. Okay, so let's start. So first of all, we're going to say bookseller, okay, the name of our program. Then we're going to add a comment and let's say variables. So this section right here, from it will be starting now variables. Now we're going to create variables that we need. So first of all, let's create a variable called stock. Inside of stock, we are going to store the input of the user. Okay, so we're going to say enter the number of books available to sell, colon, and then space bar. And we are going to use while loop here. So but then also we are using input. Okay, what input function is going to do, it's going to return us a string, and then that string will be stored in stock. We don't want that because we are going to use while loop, and while loop cannot be used with strings. So we want to make this an integer. How can we? It's very simple. So before this input, I just want to use the int function. So int, and then let's select all of this, and let's, oh no, so we are going to select all of this till input, and then we are going to put these parentheses, and now it will be an integer input that will be inputted by a user. So you've created the variable stock, we are good to go for now. Okay, now let's go ahead with the loop. So while loop. Now the very first thing we are going to do inside of while loop is we are going to say while stock. So while stock, and then we're going to say greater than equals to 1. So what this means is, till now we were just using less than equals to, now we are using greater than equals to. So what this means is, while stock will be greater than or is equal to 1, so we are going to decrease the value of stock. Okay, so for example, if a user enters 5, so inside of this loop we are going to make it 4, then 3, then 2, and then 1. So while stock is greater than or equals to 1. Okay, let's go inside of the loop. Let's reduce the stock. So I'm going to say stock minus equals 1. Very simple. So we were using plus equals, now we are using minus equals because we want the stock to be decreased. So let's add a comment. Stock decreases by 1. Okay, that's good. Now that stock decreases by 1, we are good to go inside of the loop. So we are just going to print stock decreased. Okay, and now let's run this. Okay, let's go to run, and then let's go to run and just select book seller, because previously we ran the scratch file. Okay, so it will run the scratch file again. So just select book seller, and then you can see enter the number of books available to sell. Simply we are going to enter 6, and you can see 6 times we get stock decreased. So you can count 1 2 3 4 5 6. Okay, similarly if you enter any other number, for example 20, then it's going to print stock decreased 20 times. Now let's put the value of stock here. So I'm going to put F before this string, so it will be a formatted string. Stock, and let's say stock is, and then let's put curly braces and let's output stock right here. Okay, and let's run this. So enter the number of books available to sell. Let's say 10. So stock is 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. So it decreases by 1 every single time. So what happens after this loop? So after this loop, stock will be 0. So let's print out the value of stock outside of the loop. So we're going to say print F stock outside the loop is, and then curly braces and then stock. Okay, let's run this and enter the number of books available to sell. Let's enter 13, and you can see it decreases 13 12 11 10 9 8 everything, and then it prints stock outside the loop is 0. Now first of all, in this video we are just going to print the number of books that are we are going to sell the books, only sell the books. So let's first of all get rid of this, and let's get rid of this. So we are just going to print F book number, and then curly braces stock is sold. Okay, so let's add an exclamation mark here. So book number stock is sold. Let's run this. Okay, enter the number of books 10. So book number 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1. So we have just created that book number, this is sold. Now when we run this program, we get this message first of all. Okay, so let's enter 10. There's only one kind of area between them. We want some more area because we want to differentiate them. So actually, to differentiate them, what we are going to do is we are going to use something called \n. What \n is going to do is it's going to create one more white space, or you can say one more enter. So there will be some space. Let's say 10, and we have some space here, but the problem is that we have space between every single print statement, so we don't want that. Okay, let's get rid of this. So now let's do something else. Let's say when all the books are sold, we are going to print that we're going to print that. Let's put backslash n so that we get it on a different line. So we're going to say stock, so that will be 0. Stock books are left, full stop, and then we are going, what we want is, okay, let's do that first of all, then we're going to discuss about that, okay. So book number 10 9 8 7 6 5 4 3 2 1 is sold. Then we get the message 0 books are left. But in that program we saw that we got these books were sold. Okay, these many books were sold. So how do we do that? Now stock is 0. Okay, so if we say curly braces stock were sold, and if we run this and if we enter 10, so we get 0 were sold. Okay, we want the number that was inputted here. So for that we want to create one more variable which will be equal to stock. Okay, so let's create a variable called books, and books will be equal to stock. Very simple. So the input will be stored in stock first of all, and then the value of stock will be stored in books. So we can replace this stock with books. So we can print books, and you will see the magic. So when we run this, 14, and there we go, 0 books are left, 14 were sold. And similarly, if you enter any number, it's going to tell you that how many books were sold. So 20, okay, 20 books were sold. So now what happens if a user enters 0? So you can see we get this message, just only this message, that 0 books are left and 0 were sold. So what do we do in that case? We are just going to check that if the stock is 0. So it's very simple. So let's add a comment checking if stock is 0. Okay, to check anything we use the if statement. So let's use if stock is equal to double equals to 0, because we are checking that if stock will be equal to 0, then we have to run the code inside of the if statement right here. So if stock is equal to 0, we're going to print, let's put backslash n because we want to differentiate. We're going to say no books available for sale, exclamation mark. Okay, now let's run this and let's enter 0. Then we get the message no books available for sale, and we also get this message. We don't want that. So how do we prevent that? Cut. Now actually we don't need to prevent that, because this statement is just needed for us, because 0 books are left and 0 were sold. This is a good statement, so let's keep that. And now what we want is just, we want that number of available books is this. So we get the so in the ready project we saw that if we enter any number, then first of all we get number of available books is 20 or something that you inputted. So if I print it here, if I print f with the formatted string backslash n to have a space, number of available books is curly braces, and let's enter books. You can enter stock. I want to enter books because I like it, full stop. And when we run this, and when you enter anything 12, okay, it's going to print this thing, number of available books is 12. But when you enter 0, it's going to print this additional statement, and we don't want that because we already have this statement which tells us that 0 books are left and 0 were sold. So we don't want this additional statement inside of 0 books. We just want to tell the user that, hey, you entered 0 books, so there are no books to sell. So how do we prevent this statement from printing when we have 0 books? So what you can do is you can just add an else, and then just indent this print statement, and this is going to prevent this. So when a user enters any number which is not 0, then it's going to print this statement, and when a user enters 0, this print will be printed. So now let's say 0, and you can see 0 books are left, 0 was sold. And similarly, if I enter 0 0, then also we get the same thing, number of available books to sell for sale. So if we enter 0 0 0 0, then it's going to say no books available for sale, 0 books are left, and 0 were sold. That's it. It's good. Okay, so till now we just did this thing, we did not do anything. Actually, we created this program. Now let's actually add a \n right here so that we can get a space between them. So let's enter 10. Okay, this is the problem. Let's fix that. So let's remove this first of all. What do we want is stop and rerun. So what we want is, we want that, okay, so we want the white space between these two. So let's do that. It's very simple. Let's add a \n right here. It's going to put a space there. So let's run this, and 12 or anything like that, and we have some space right here. Okay, so this is how the project works, and this is very first video. Okay, this is very basic coding. In the next video we are going to create we are going to continue our program, and then we are going to complete this program. It's very simple, so just don't worry about this code. If you don't understand it, go back to while loop and if statements video and watch those videos again and again, and then you're going to get these. And that's it for this video, guys. Hope you like it, share it with others. Finally, thanks for watching.